What actually happened after Jungkook appeared at the prestigious Calvin Klein Fashion Week that made Jin keep thinking about it? This question suddenly emerged and became a hot topic of discussion on various platforms. The fact that an idol of Jin's caliber, known for being calm, firm, and rarely showing excessive reactions in public, now seems so affected by Jungkook's appearance raises a big question mark. Is there something more than just pride as fellow BTS members, or is there a deep anxiety that has not been revealed? Jungkook's appearance at Calvin Klein has indeed made new history in the fashion world. He was not only present as a guest star, but as the main face who truly dominated the stage with his global charm. Camera spotlights, audience applause, and the clamor of social media all focused on him. However, behind the fanfare, attention was focused on Jin, who seemed silent, contemplating, and reportedly unable to stop thinking about what had just happened. Why did Jin react like that? Many suspect that it was not only Jungkook's appearance that impressed him, but also the great implications of the world spotlight now fully focused on the golden magne. It was as if Jin was grappling with thoughts about how that excessive spotlight would impact Jungkook's personal life. As the oldest member and often seen as a protective older brother, Jin seems to see that stage not only as a celebration, but also as a vulnerable point that could invite risks in the future. Quite a few Korean entertainment observers associate Jin's reaction with his increasingly vocal attitude regarding the safety of BTS members lately. Jungkook, who is often the center of attention, especially after the big campaign with Calvin Klein, of course has a double impact: soaring popularity, as well as an increasingly real threat. From here arises speculation. Is Jin thinking about Jungkook's safety after seeing firsthand how intense the international media spotlight is on him? Apart from the matter of security, there is also an emotional side that cannot be ignored. Jin, who is currently in a transition period after his mandatory military service, may feel a deep longing for the dynamics of togetherness on stage with Jungkook. When he saw his youngest brother standing majestically on the international stage alone, mixed feelings could arise: pride, admiration, and worry. Isn't this the first time in BTS history that one member has appeared so dominant in the world of fashion without the presence of other members as a counterweight? Jin's emotional reaction was also reinforced by several moments captured on camera. Several eyewitnesses revealed that after Jungkook finished performing, Jin was seen talking seriously with HYB staff, as if emphasizing something very important. Netizens immediately linked it to Jin's feelings of constantly thinking about Jungkook. In fact, some comments mentioned that Jin seemed carried away to the point of not being able to hide his worried expression. However, is this really just about worry? Or maybe there's another dimension that we haven't seen? It is possible that Jin is contemplating how Jungkook's achievements will affect the direction of BTS in the future. Soaring individual popularity can indeed be a double-edged sword. On the one hand, it brings extraordinary pride, but on the other hand, it can create an imbalance in public attention towards the group as a whole. In BTS tradition, the relationship between members has always been the center of attention. Jin, with his position as the oldest, young, always pays more attention to his younger siblings. So when he seemed to be absorbed in thinking about Jungkook after the big moment at Calvin Klein, it is only natural that the public immediately interpreted that there was a protective feeling as well as anxiety that he felt. Jungkook, who has been known as a spirited figure and dares to challenge limits, is now at the most crucial point in his career, praised by the world, but also increasingly vulnerable to great pressure. The most pressing question is, will Jin speak louder after this? Some suspect that he may ask management to tighten security, maintain a safe distance with the media, and even protect Jungkook from excessive spotlight. If this suspicion is correct, then what we are witnessing today is only the beginning of a bigger step that Jin will take to protect his youngest brother. The fact that Jin's emotional reaction has become a hot topic proves how strong the internal dynamics of BTS are in the eyes of the public. Not only about music or stage performances, but also the emotional bond between members that seems to form its own dramatic narrative. Jungkook may be the center of the fashion world's attention, but it is Jin who is now sparking curiosity with his reaction full of question marks. Now, the public is left wondering, is Jin's attitude just a form of ordinary brotherly concern? Or is it a signal that there is something bigger that he is thinking about? Whatever the answer, one thing is clear. The event at Calvin Klein Fashion Week not only left a monumental mark on Jungkook's career, but also opened a new chapter in the emotional relationship between him and Jin, which is now the focus of attention no less than the stage itself. However, at this point, a fundamental question arises. Is it true that Jin really can't stop thinking about Jungkook after the moment at Calvin Klein? Or is this narrative merely shaped by social media and rapidly developing rumors? Isn't it possible that Jin's expression is just a brief snippet that is interpreted excessively? How can we be sure that what is seen on the screen truly reflects the inner state of an artist who is in the spotlight of the world? We need to acknowledge that the information circulating today mostly comes from video snippets, short tweets on Twitter, TikTok content snippets, to reviews on YouTube. The question is, do these sources have credible journalistic validity? Or are we all trapped in a wave of sensationalism that is deliberately created to arouse public curiosity? Doesn't the entertainment industry often play with dramatic narratives so that attention remains focused on big idols like BTS? If we look back at the pattern, this case is not the first. Many times the public is presented with narratives of deep emotions or dramatic reactions from a BTS member that are associated with the achievements of other members. The critical question, does that moment reflect the actual facts, or is it just a modern hoax deliberately packaged to add news value? Are we as viewers skeptical enough to judge, or do we enjoy being trapped in a narrative game that triggers sensation? Let's reflect. Is it possible that Jin was just showing ordinary pride, but then interpreted as absorbed in deep thought? Is it also possible that certain parties are exploiting the big names of Jin and Jungkook to create a dramatic story in order to increase interaction on social media? Don't we often find how online media quickly adds spice to make a news story sound more interesting? Then, where is the line between fact and interpretation? Furthermore, can we really distinguish between an artist's original expression and a media-made narrative? What if Jin's reaction was just a natural reflex, but then used as content that is sold for the sake of virality? And if that's the case, doesn't it mean that we as the public are often just consumers of emotions that are regulated by certain parties? This is why it is important for us to remain skeptical. Don't just swallow every news that appears on our homepage. Are you sure that Jin's expression, which is said to be full of anxiety, really happened? Do you believe that he kept thinking about Jungkook until late at night? Or is it just a collective imagination that is reinforced by thousands of netizens' comments? What if this whole narrative is actually just a construction that is deliberately exaggerated? The next reflective point is about the role of the entertainment media itself.